I'm your host, Chef Jake Osborne, on the show where we put food safety first, Michigan community second, and serve up delicious food to follow. We're here in bustling downtown Chelsea at Agricole Farm Stop, a mecca center of food for chefs and local farmers. Today we've got our guest, Miss Novirah Lone. She is a graduate of a Pro Start program out in Plymouth. She's now enrolled in the Schoolcraft Culinary College, and she's going to be flexing her red pepper risotto recipe with us when we're back in just a minute, when My Kitchen with Jake continues.
Okay, why don't I take this and why don't you put the chicken in the fridge?
I'll do that.
And chicken always goes, raw chicken always goes in the very bottom of your refrigerator.
And why is that, Laura?
Oh, well, there's a little issue with cross-contamination.
And gravity loves it,
You really want to think about bloody chicken, and if it drips on your other food, then that's going to be a real issue.
My Michigan TV is streaming everywhere on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, and more smart TV apps. My Michigan TV is on your phone too. Take us with you wherever you go. Just search for My Michigan TV on your favorite app store or visit mymitv.com. All Michigan, streaming everywhere. My Michigan TV.
Welcome back to My Kitchen with Jake, sponsored by the Michigan Restaurant and Lodging Association, Education Foundation, and myfoodsafety.com. We're back in Agricole Farm Stop, where it is absolutely bustling. It's an absolute mecca for chefs and for local farmers. And we're here with one of my favorite local chefs, Miss Novirah Lone, a local Pro Start program graduate, and you're currently enrolled at Schoolcraft, correct?
Yes.
So what are we making today? We're doing one of your recipes, right?
Yes, today we're making a red pepper risotto. I made this recipe when I was in competition. I was given a list of ingredients, and I was given arborio rice and various cheeses, and decided I could make a red pepper risotto.
So it's a Novirah original.
Yes.
I love that. So first and foremost, right, we're focused on food safety first, Michigan community second, and delicious food to follow. So our sanitation needs to be on point.
Yes.
So before we start, we're going to wash our hands and we're going to sanitize the tabletop,
Yes.
correct? So I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands if you want to sanitize the tabletop, and then we'll switch off, okay?
Yeah.
While you're doing that, so what else are we going to get going on this? I know we've got veggie stock, we've got 2 different kinds of cheeses, we've got our pepper, we've got some onions.
So we want to make sure our stock is warm. So first thing we want to do is get that on the stove.
Okay.
And then we will cut our vegetables small dice and mince our garlic.
Okay, can I get that stock on the stove while you wash your hands?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to get that going. Thank you for sanitizing our surfaces.
No problem.
And this is a veggie stock, right?
Yes.
And I know in your recipe you said that you can use chicken stock as well. Is that correct?
Any variety of stock will work.
Yeah. Have you used beef stock before as well?
I have not,
No.
but I have seen others and tasted others who have.
I bet it's good.
Yep.
Okay, so I've got your veggie stock warming up. What's going to be our next step?
Cutting up our vegetables.
Okay, and we've already washed our vegetables.
Yes.
We did use organic vegetables with a local onion from Tantre Farms. We love Tantre Farms.
Yes.
Miss Jeb and Mr. Richard. They're absolutely fantastic local folk. And then we've got our pepper. She's not local, but it's not seasonable, so it's okay. But we did wash these first, which is important.
Yes.
Using a clean surface, clean knife, you're going to go ahead and cut up your onion first.
Yep.
All right, and can I prepare any pans for you while you're doing that?
No, but you can cut some butter.
I can do that. Okay. So do you always use butter, or have you subbed it for olive oil before?
You can use olive oil. I just haven't. I prefer the fattiness from the butter.
Good.
It gives a good, rich flavor.
Yeah, you can never go wrong with fat, right?
Yep.
How much butter would you like me to cut?
About half a pound.
Half a pound, okay.
Into small diced cubes.
Into small diced cubes.
Yeah.
I got a knife right behind you, okay?
Alright.
So I'm going to go ahead and cut this into cubes, and then are we putting this in a saute pan, or what kind of pan are you thinking?
I'm thinking a small sauce pot.
Small sauce pot, okay. So
Just
we'll
for the
get
amount.
that ready. And then what else is going in there?
Once I get these onions, we're gonna sweat these onions first.
Okay, so we got a minute.
Yep, we got a minute. We're gonna sweat these onions first, and then by the time these onions are sweated, our red bell pepper should be cut,
Okay,
and we'll add that in.
so while we're doing this, tell me a little bit about what you're learning over at Schoolcraft College versus what you learned in your Pro Start program.
So right now, I'm kind of going in depth of all the basic vocabulary terms that I learned, like braising and stewing,
Yeah.
as well as learning different parts of the animal, like in butchery, where I learned how to fabricate different animals. And then I also did a pastry class where I went on and learned some basic pastry. Even though I'm in the culinary program, they do allow you to take just a basic pastry class. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So I remember when we were out in Chicago, we got to travel a little bit together while you were in the Pro Start program.
Yes.
And you got to telling me and my partner Billy about some halal preparation for goat, right?
Yes.
Now that's got to have a lot of food safety techniques in it. Can you
Yes.
tell me about it? Because a lot of people don't understand production of meat.
Yeah, so when you want to halal an animal, you make sure you have clean knives, a clean surface, and a clean water bucket. You want to make sure that water bucket is clean and doesn't have any other blood from any existing animals, because it could cross-contaminate. Not only does it contaminate your food, but it also doesn't make your animal that you're slaughtering officially halal.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess you had told me a little bit about it when we were in Chicago, but there's a lot of touch points in that. Because if you didn't do that, you could end up sick easily, right?
Absolutely.
And even if you're not doing halal preparation, you still have similar safety requirements, right? So have you done fish and chicken and beef now?
Yeah, so I have done fish, chicken, and beef, but fish doesn't necessarily need to be halal.
Right, right.
So, just because the second you take it out of water, it's already dead.
Gotcha.
So, it doesn't need to be a halal, but you can halal a chicken. We often fabricate chickens in butchery. It's one of the basic things that you learn first is
Very cool.
chicken fabrication. Yeah.
I love that. Well, we're going to finish cutting these up, and then we're going to return in just a moment. We'll be back when My Kitchen with Jake continues.
I like to use cool water, but I also like to sanitize everything as I go about it. I like to use a little spray. My spray usually has a little vinegar in it. I'm going to use these. When I put them in the refrigerator, I want them ready to go, especially if you've got small children at home. They're likely to not ever sanitize anything, so just have it ready to eat, as they say.
Pure is what you make of it. It's how the hustle of the cities can change the course of history. It's the beauty of the things we create on a canvas, on a plate, or stretched high above the sidewalk. It's a patch of green or a stretch of blue, right in the heart of downtown. It's the buzz of it all, or if you prefer, it's tuning it all out. Clear your schedule and pursue your pure in Pure, Michigan.
My Michigan TV is streaming everywhere on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, and more smart TV apps. My Michigan TV is on your phone too. Take us with you wherever you go. Just search for My Michigan TV on your favorite app store or visit mymitv.com. All Michigan, streaming everywhere. My Michigan TV.
Welcome back to My Kitchen with Jake, sponsored by the Michigan Restaurant Lodging Association, Education Foundation, and MichiganFoodSafety.com. We're back with Miss Novirah Lone preparing our red pepper risotto. When we left y'all, she had just finished up cutting up her onion and garlic. and melting her butter. So we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna grab that pan for you so you can sweat those onions and that garlic. Here, I'll put it right over the edge for you.
Perfect.
We'll shovel it in.
Let's get that in there.
All right, and then you're gonna get cutting on that red pepper.
Yep.
And I'm gonna put this on low medium heat, right?
Yes.
And I'm going to hunt down my wooden spoon. Sound good?
Yes. So here I cut tops and bottoms off and then kind of made a slit and cut around the core just so you can get that out. And then I like to cut in half just so I can get this bitter part of the red pepper out first. This is called the pith. Getting that out is best just because it's really bitter. It doesn't add very good flavor. And then I slice.
So because our first priority is food safety, let's talk about why you're not wearing gloves. Because I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, Vera, you should have gloves on your hands. But we're going to be cooking it, right?
Yes.
And we're going to be absolutely certain that it makes it to 145 degrees or more.
Yes.
So our concern for pathogens or viruses is pretty low to none. Our highest concern would be cross-contamination or potential physical contaminants or something like that when we're chopping up our garlic and chopping up our peppers. You don't want to have any of those skins or those seeds ending up in it.
Yes.
But as far as like your actual sanitation, as long as your hands are washed, your cutting board and your knife are clean, you don't have to be concerned about large amounts of risk. I'm also watching you as you're cutting this, and from when you were a student to now, your knife cuts have seriously improved,
Yes.
dude. Those are beautiful.
Thank you.
Those little peppers, those are julienne gorgeously. I love it. I'm gonna stir our onions and our garlic right quick. They're not quite translucent yet. I'm actually gonna turn them down just a scotch too. And our stock, our veggie stock, it's starting to steam just a little bit. Do you want me to cut the heat on that?
We can lower it. Don't
Cut it?
Yeah.
Okay, it's on low.
Perfect.
Same with our onions and our garlic. And they're smelling so good.
Yum.
I love aromatic root vegetables. Love
Me
them.
too. And I'm just about done with these peppers.
Oh, they're gorgeous. They're so high contrast on that green cutting board. It's like Christmas.
It is.
So what's going to be our next step? You're going to put those in with the garlic and the
Yep,
onions?
we're gonna put these in with the garlic and the onion. If you want, you can add these end rinds as well. These just will add extra flavor. You don't exactly have to cut them because you won't be serving those.
Okay. I'm coming over with your hot pot. Oh, that smells so good. It's like a little bit of a Cajun mirepoix, isn't
Yep.
it? I bet the guests on our I bet people at home don't know what a mirepoix is. Miss College Lady, what's a mirepoix?
A mirepoix is 2 parts onion, 1 part celery, and 1 part carrot. There's different types of mirepoix usually used for different things. If you want a basic mirepoix, you usually use that for a chicken stock. If you want a white stock, you would use white mirepoix, which is 2 parts onion, white onion, 1 part leek, and 1 part celery. There's different variations.
I know, those aromatic vegetables. All good recipes start with a quality mirepoix.
Yep.
Maybe not all of them, but most of them.
While you get that sauteing, you want to get that sweated, and soon after, just as you can see the butter bubbling up a little bit, you can add in your rice to be toasted.
And why do we do that?
It brings out the grainy flavor and earthy flavor of the rice.
Yeah, I agree. If you don't do it, it really ends up kind of starchy and a lot more bland.
Yep.
I mean, this is not going to be bland. With all those onions and garlic and butter and a bunch of peppers, there ain't nothing bland about it, is there?
So you want to toast this up a little bit, and with risotto, you want to continuously stir to kind of aggregate the starches in the rice itself. Arborio rice just is naturally starchy. I like to add a little bit of stock first, just like that, and you want to keep stirring. You want to lower this a bit. You don't want it too high, just because you want the rice to cook very slowly and kind of create a starchy glaze over the rice with the stock.
Okay. So once we're done with this, what do you think it would go well with?
I personally like serving this with a pan-seared oven-roasted chicken.
Okay.
A pole chicken would be great, or even some grilled steak and
Ooh,
risotto.
yeah.
Delicious.
That'd be really good.
Just some good protein.
Okay, so you're definitely doing this as a side. Have you
Yes.
ever stuffed it back into peppers?
I have not, but
Oh,
I'm
I bet
sure
it'd be
it would
good.
be delicious. Yes.
Yeah, I am an avid gardener. Do you garden as well?
I do sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, so I garden like a mad person, and we grow tomatoes and peppers, and we're always stuffing them. We did the most incredible stuffed tomato with a borio rice, and I loved it. But your addition of peppers, I feel like that would set it over.
Yeah.
So what kind of things would we think about if we were harvesting the produce fresh, as far as sanitation goes?
Yes, you would want to make sure all other pesticides are washed off and cleaned off of all vegetables,
Yeah.
and as well as any dirt that would come from the vegetables as they are freshly harvested.
Absolutely. I only do organic pesticides and things in my home, but I'm still really, really, really into making sure that my veggies are clean. And something that I focus on really largely is when it says on your fertilizer or your package when you can actually harvest, whether it's immediately or if it takes some time. So we're almost there, but it's taken a minute. So why don't we take a quick break and we'll be right back when My Kitchen with Jake continues.
Hand me that towel.
This towel looks like the dish rag. I think it's time for a fresh one.
Again, this is one of the big issues that we have in home use. Did you replace that towel as often as you actually should? Especially if you have small children in the house. So making sure this is clean as well.
My Michigan TV is streaming everywhere on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, and more smart TV apps. My Michigan TV is on your phone too. Take us with you wherever you go. Just search for My Michigan TV on your favorite app store or visit mymitv.com. All Michigan, streaming everywhere. My Michigan TV.
Welcome back to My Kitchen with Jake, sponsored by the Michigan Restaurant and Lodging Association, Education Foundation, and MichiganFoodSafety.com. We're back at the Agricole Farm Stop kitchen here in Chelsea, Michigan, with my buddy, Miss Novirah Lone, and we are finishing up our risotto. Yes. We're about halfway through.
Yeah.
So our next step is cheese, yeah?
Yes.
So what kind of cheese we got?
So this is Parmesan cheese and Gruyere cheese.
Oh, I love Gruyere.
Yes, I use freshly grated cheese mostly because pre-grated cheese have an extra starch added to them.
Yeah.
That kind of prevents them from sticking together, all the little pieces sticking together, but it adds a really thick flavor that is not very good. So I prefer to grate my own cheese with a microplane.
So that's the anti-caking agents you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. Cheese is really interesting like that, isn't it? I was just reading about natamycin being added to cheese. Have you ever heard of natamycin?
No, I have not.
Natamycin is a type of antibiotic. It's a natural forming antibiotic found in the soil of West Africa, but it's actually an antibiotic that you can get a prescription for, and they're using it as an ingredient in cheeses, especially shredded cheese, so that it's eliminating growth and things, and it's supposed to last longer and be more shelf stable. I'm super not into that. I don't want to be eating any prescriptions,
Right.
So I feel very strongly about grating my own cheese as well.
Yep.
I am noticing on our Parmesan that we've got one spot that might be questionable. With cheese only, if there's something that's questionable on it like that, as long as you cut about an inch away, you're completely safe. That is by the books rules. You can cut that mold off of your cheese and be perfectly safe. So when we go to grade this, we're going to give it a nice slice right about there, right?
Yep.
That's this piece over here on the right, okay?
Yeah.
Are you finished up with that one?
I am.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and saran wrap that, and I'm going to date and label it for our refrigerator You don't necessarily have to date and label your things at home, but you know how it is in a kitchen. You don't always know what the first person put in there. So if you've got a date on it, you'll know when it actually expires, and you're never going to have bad food. I mean, and like I said, if cheese gets a little bit of mold on it, as long as it's not completely encased, you can cut most of it off. But you need to use your better judgment with that, right?
Yes. So here we have about 3/4 of a cup of Parmesan, and I'm grating another half cup of Gruyere. Gruyere is more of a strong cheese. It has more of a funk to it. I prefer that funk. I really like it. It adds an extra flavor to our risotto, which we are just about to finish off. So right here, we're going to bring this back to the stove, and we're going to add all the rest of this stock. At this point, once we have about half the stock, I like to add some herbs.
And those are Michigan herbs, right?
Yes.
Did you know that Michigan, as a state, produces more herbs by pound than majority of other states? I think Utah is right up there too, but we produce more mint than any other state and more herbs generally than most. Which I love, because you can add flavor without adding additional fats, additional sodium, or things like that. You can keep your recipes more healthy and boost all of that flavor. Like I was saying earlier, I'm an avid gardener, right?
Yes.
So my herb section is bustling. We've got perennial thyme going and perennial oregano, and I can already tell it's starting to come out and it's ready for the spring. It's not there yet, but
It's getting there.
yeah. My thyme's really interesting right now. All of the bottoms of the leaves are purple because they're kind of in distress with the early spring.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's like, it changes the flavor just a
It
little
does.
bit, makes it a little spicy. This is smelling amazing.
Yes. I love, around this time, I prefer to season after I add cheese, just because cheese has a lot of sodium.
Absolutely.
And it does have a very salty taste and changes taste. Now I'm going to add some lemon zest. Lemon zest, I just like to grate fresh off the lemon.
I love lemon zest too. It
Yes.
freshens it up beautifully. And this lemon, we made sure that it was clean.
Yes.
And it was not a waxed lemon. We
Right.
bought an organic one. So as you're grating, you're not contaminating your food, which is important, right?
Yes. Lemon zest adds a certain brightness to this that I absolutely love.
Yeah, I love a bright lemony something something. And did you know that peppers are chock full of vitamin C? They have more vitamin C in a bell pepper than there is in a orange. I didn't know that. I read it online. But I think it's amazing. Like early in the spring like this, you need every bit of vitamins you can get your hands on. And if it's tasting all fresh, with your lemon, you can fight off scurvy, right? Like a pirate.
This is where I like to add some Parmesan and Gruyere on my cheeses. And then I also
take
like
that
to
for you.
add some butter that we kept cold in this fridge. And since this is being cooked, I am going to grab the pieces
Quick like and in a hurry.
I'm using. And then we want to go back to mixing, stir it all together.
Oh, there, that smells heavenly.
Yum.
Just heavenly. Now, what kind of allergens should we consider with a recipe like this? If you were going to bring this to potluck, what kind of contains statement would be on it?
Contains dairy.
Dairy for sure. That's a lot of cheese and a
Yes.
lot of butter.
There are some people who are allergic to garlic. I've heard a lot of
That's
garlic
true.
allergies.
Yeah.
But
allium allergies.
mostly just a dairy allergy. There, since this is rice, there's not really a wheat allergy.
I think arborio may contain wheat. I'm going to check that label before we say that, right?
Yep. And you want to mix it till it comes just together. And at this point, you would taste and season.
It doesn't say contains wheat, but I have heard before in the past that arborio can have traces of gluten.
There are some.
Yeah, but I don't know if it depends on which one you buy. This is an Italian style rice.
Yes.
I love Italian food. This smells very Little Italy, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Well, you were traveling for the Pro Start program. We should talk about the Pro Start program a little bit.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. What did you learn in Pro Start? What did Miss Diana Woodward over at PSAP teach you?
She taught me a lot about food sanitation and just how to keep my station clean and tidy. That's one of the biggest things, especially in the restaurant industry, to help avoid food contaminants.
And you do that exceptionally well. She's got you trained hardcore, doesn't she?
Oh, yes. Especially in competitions, you want to make sure you look your best as well as do your best.
Yeah.
So having a clean station helps you do that.
And you were in the Pro Start culinary competition, right?
I was in the Pro Star Culinary competition. That was a team competition that we did. We got second in the state.
You did culinary?
And culinary,
Yeah.
yes.
So let's talk about how that works. So you've got 2 8-foot tables in a
Yes.
10-foot square, right?
Yeah.
No electricity,
No.
2 butane burners, no refrigeration,
No.
and a team of, you had 4 or 5?
We had 5.
You had 5.
But 4 people are allowed in the square within
Right.
the 10-foot square, and 1 person is the team manager. They kind of watch the time, watch your tidiness, tell you how you're doing, calm you down. Yeah.
You need it,
Yes,
yeah.
in that 1 hour, you have a minute by minute agenda, and you have to go by each minute. And even if you're a minute late, it gets hard, it gets stressful.
It does get stressful. I'm an alumni of that program too. Did you know that?
Really? Yes,
Yeah, I did
I
management
did.
and culinary when I was a student.
Yes, you
Yeah.
told me about culinary. I didn't know about management.
I did, yeah. We did a restaurant called Espoir. It was Haitian Creole for Hope, and our whole motive was to give back to the community. Michigan community second, remember? And we did. It was really cool. That competition, I feel like, really prepares you for the industry.
It definitely
Between the
does.
judgment on sanitation, the judgment on your actual flavors and the ingredients you're picking, and the food cost.
Yeah.
I mean, it really prepares you, doesn't
Yes,
it?
and I think it doesn't only prepare you for the restaurant industry, it prepares you for life in general. It gives you a lot
Absolutely.
of basic life skills. I feel like cooking is definitely a life skill. And also just being aware of your surroundings and how to move and how to function a certain way is very important, especially like what's around you, and just being clean and tidy is just important in everyday life.
Well, you have the dangers of a kitchen, right?
Yes.
You've got hot surfaces, you've got sharp surfaces, and then you've got the sanitation risk.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot to understand, and people that might be cooking at home, they don't have necessarily the same situation happening.
do not.
Except they do, right? Like if you contaminate something, whether you're in a kitchen at home or in a restaurant, I mean, you're contaminating it regardless, and it depends on who you're feeding.
Mm-hmm.
If you're feeding somebody that's maybe immune compromised,
Yes.
I mean, that can be really scary. It makes me question eating at potlucks always.
Oh yes.
Yeah, but there are some people that like you, they know what they're doing. So what are you thinking about our risotto here? It
So
looks like it
here-
soaked up a lot of that liquid.
Yes. So here I like to add more butter. As butter melts,
Always add more butter.
There's no such thing as too much butter.
That's real.
And so I like to add a little bit more butter, or you could add some more stock, whatever you fancy, however you feel it tastes. You want it to be just a bit al dente before you add your butter and your Parmesan and cheese.
Flexing your culinary terms.
Oh,
What
yes.
does al dente mean?
Al dente is par cooked, so about 75% of the way cooked.
Yep. It actually means, like, the French translation is to the tooth.
To the tooth,
Yes.
yes.
So that it's got a little
Stick
to it. Yeah.
A little bite.
Works for noodles, works for rice. Yeah. So sorry, I interrupted you. What else were you saying?
I was just adding some butter, and then like
Always with the butter.
Always with the butter, and then some stock, and then you can add more cheese if you want it to stick together some more.
Yeah, I really love the consistency of
From
it.
here, if you like the consistency, taste it, season, and enjoy.
Okay, I'm gonna grab some spoons so we can do that.
Here's some butter. I don't think there's such thing as too much butter. Who doesn't love butter?
Chef, a spoon.
Thank you.
Chef's kiss.
Delicious.
All right, well, I think on that note, we're going to wrap it up for just a minute, and we're going to take a break, okay? And we'll be right back when My Kitchen with Jake continues.
Okay, why don't I take this and why don't you put
Okay.
the chicken in the fridge?
I'll do that.
And chicken always goes, raw chicken always goes in the very bottom of your refrigerator.
And why is that,
Okay?
Laura?
Oh, well, there's a little issue with cross-contamination.
And gravity loves it,
You
doesn't
really
it?
want to think about bloody chicken, and if it drips on your other food, then that's going to be a real issue.
My Michigan TV is streaming everywhere on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, and more smart TV apps. My Michigan TV is on your phone too. Take us with you wherever you go. Just search for My Michigan TV on your favorite app store or visit mymitv.com. All Michigan, streaming everywhere. My Michigan TV.
Welcome back to My Kitchen with Jake, sponsored by the Michigan Restaurant and Lodging Association, Education Foundation, and the MichiganFoodSafety.com website. I'm back with Ms. Novirah Lone, and we are finishing up our red pepper risotto.
Yes.
To do so, now it's cooked, it's sanitary, it's ready to rock and roll. We're going to wash our hands again and
Yes.
prepare the plate. We're also going to put on some gloves as a protective barrier,
Yes.
correct? And Vera's picked out a really cool plate and a really cute mold. So we're going to make it into the little shape of Michigan and put it on this darling bubble plate.
Yes.
So we're going to wash up, we'll grab our peppers, and let's rock and roll, okay? You go ahead.
Thank you.
I'm going to bring our stock pot over. And the fun thing is we got to remember that when we're washing our hands, you can sing the alphabet, but you're doing it at 20
Happy
seconds or
birthday
so,
to you.
right? Or happy birthday. We're always using antibacterial soap, and we're always using disposable paper towels so that you're not cross-contaminating every time you wash your hands. That dirty kitchen rag, it could get you. All right, I'm going to do that as well, and then we can glove up and we can rock and roll. I'm so excited to try this. This is going to be gorgeous with the red peppers on this crazy blue plate. I think the colors are going to be incredible. I think that the flavors are going to be incredible. The only thing we're really missing is a good protein, but you can leave that for your imagination.
Yes.
I think what I'm like most inspired for, not a Michigan product at all, would be scallops.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine this with scallops. But if we wanted to keep it Michigan, we could go with like whitefish, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Whitefish on top of Michigan. I think that'd be awesome. So, okay, once you glove up, do we want to do it in the center? Do we want to do it to the side?
What
do you
do it in
think?
the center.
I think center too. Because then if we were going to finish it, you'd have room for some vegetables. You could
Yep.
set your protein on the top. I think that'd be sweet. So we're just going to take a few scoops, right?
Yep. Make sure you don't get
Yeah,
the big
leave the
chunks.
butts.
Yep.
Do you want to gently use your hands to pack it into the corners? Michigan's got a lot of details, doesn't it?
Sure does.
Would you like more, or do you think that's good?
I think
Maybe
just
a little
bit
more?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, I love it.
We can finish it with some thyme.
Yeah. Michigan and a good time, right?
Yep. And some lemon zest.
Love that. It looks gorgeous with the mold on it. Do you think we can pull the mold off, or do you think it's going to fall apart?
If
Ready?
It's a good
Let's try it.
risotto.
Oh, it's so pretty. And it smells delectable, doesn't it?
Yum.
All right, I'm going to throw the Michigan in the dish pit. I'm going to pull off my gloves, and we're going to go ahead and serve this up. Delicious food to follow. And it's our first ever dish on My Kitchen with Jake.
Yay!
With my buddy Novirah Lone.
Yay!
I love it.
Beautiful.
It is beautiful. So we'll be right back, and we're going to be answering some questions from the audience about food safety. And we're also going to do a Michigan produce plug. we're featuring Tantre Farms onions from Miss Deb and Richard, which are like the best aromatic onions you've ever had. We'll be right back when My Kitchen with Jake continues.
One of the things I use on this wood counter is my sponge.
Oh, I'm checking it.
Yeah. And again, that is one of those situations in most home kitchens where the sponge looks like this. So that can be a real issue for us too, because especially if it's kept wet all the time, it's definitely going to breed bacteria.
Perfect environment.
Yep.
We've all been looking forward to a return to normalcy, especially when it involves a breath of fresh air, a dip in the water, the chance to explore, or just the opportunity to take a break and enjoy the view. Our time is now. Start making your plans now to visit Ludington at pureluddington.com.
Out here with the squad, everybody tryna go, yeah, the party jumping off, and we putting on a show, tryna catch a vibe, we do this every time, like, na 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 na. This is where I wanna be, na na na, never ever gonna leave, na na na, you ain't taking it from me, I'm like, na 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 na.
Welcome back to My Kitchen with Jake. We're hanging out here at the gorgeous Agricole Farm Stop. It's an absolute mecca for chefs and farmers alike. This is where My Kitchen's located as well. We're going to be answering a few questions from guests just like you. Our first one is from Miss Alexis Moreland.
Hi, my name is Alexis Moreland. I'm 17 years old. I'm from Michigan Job Challenge, and I have a few questions for you today. The first one is, how do you prevent cross-contamination in the kitchen? The second question is, can you use bleach in a kitchen?
All right, Alexis. So Vera and I, Vera, my pal, is a Pro Start program graduate. I invited her to help me answer some of these questions. So first, the cross-contamination. In our experience, the best way to avoid cross-contamination is to clean as you go,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So I'd recommend wiping down surfaces after you've cut something up.
Yes, keeping a sandy bucket at your station.
Absolutely.
Just continuously cleaning, tidying up, make sure meat and things that are being cooked at different temperatures are placed in different areas.
Absolutely.
Cleaning as you transition between those items is very important as well.
And cross-contamination goes all the way down to storage. So if you're storing things in your refrigerator, you need to be considerate of how you layer your product inside of that refrigerator. So if you have chicken, make sure that the chicken is on the very bottom of the shelf so that things drip down, right? So if you've got lettuce on the top, you've got eggs below that, you've got anything that's ready to eat above here, and then as your cooking temperatures go, the higher the cooking temperature, the lower it is on the refrigerator. Your chicken's gonna be cooked to 165, so the very bottom shelf is the best spot for that. And that's gonna keep that from dripping onto your other food products. Any other ideas on how to eliminate cross-contamination?
I feel like also remembering that something that I sometimes struggle with is remembering that ground beef cooks different temperatures than whole beef and things like that, because once you ground them, all the contaminants on the outside of the meat are now ground together. So making sure those are also separated at different temperatures.
Absolutely.
And make sure your cutting board is clean, having different cutting boards.
Different colored cutting boards. Yeah, that's a great one, right?
Yes.
What is it? Blue for fish.
Blue for fish.
Yellow for poultry.
Poultry. And
red
then
for beef. Green for veggies.
Yes.
What is the tan one? Is that for like garlic and stuff specifically?
I think that's, tan is for garlic, and then there's a purple for allergens, and then there's one all-purpose cutting board that's usually white, but that's kind of for finishing and ending up the product. I think that's
And you only really have to get those if they're relevant to you. If you're trying to make sure that you're eliminating the cross-contamination of allergens from something else, it's relevant. And I don't know about you, but ours has a little chart on it in my kitchen that shows you the different cutting board uses. It's really helpful and something it becomes muscle memory after a while, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Any other hints on cross-contamination?
I think I'm good on my part.
Okay. There goes the train, sorry. I love the train in Chelsea. It's like one of the most quaint little things. Our second question was whether we could use bleach in the kitchen. And the answer is yes, if you use it properly.
Yes.
Bleach can be too much chemical. You can have chemical contamination. That's one of the three contaminations. You've got physical,
bio, and chemical.
And chemical, So if you do not dilute your bleach properly, you cannot use the bleach within the kitchen. If you dilute it to the point that it's below, I think it's 200 parts per million, then it is safe to utilize. And for those of us in a professional kitchen setting, we do have test strips that we use every time we use bleach. We always use bleach in our kitchen in the sanitizing part of our 3-compartment washing. So it's dish detergent, rinse, and then a sanitizer. And we dilute, it's probably a half a cup or less in, maybe a quarter cup or less, in a great big dish bin. And the most important thing is even after the dishes go through that bleach water, that they completely dry in the air rather than using a towel or a rag. And
then using those towels and a rag can also, sometimes they contain those and keep those allergens within the board, especially if you put them away right after towel drying them. You could also create some mold, especially if it's wet, which is a different type of contaminant, and you don't want that. You don't want that.
But yes, you can use bleach, but do it wisely.
Yes.
We also have a Michigan specialty crop that we wanted to discuss with you all. So we have an onion, one of the most beautiful little onions in all of the land. This one is from Tantre Farms, right here in Chelsea. They're just on the way to Grass Lake. They've got a gorgeous farm with lots and lots of people working there, lots of products that they offer. Deb and Richard are the farmers there. They're a couple of the most charming people in all of the world. We just saw them this morning. But they grow these onions just down the way. They harvested these in the fall. This onion has been seasoned properly, so it sat outside and created this beautiful crust on the outside so that it could last through the winter. So as far as Michigan specialty crops that are available seasonally, I love onions in the winter. They add so much flavor, and if it's local, it's just better.
It's just, local is always better.
Local is always better. And I'm pretty sure Tantre has different types of onions. They've got red, they've got these classic yellow onions. I also have seen their bulb onions in the spring. If you ever get a chance to get those, oh my goodness. They're the most beautiful white onions with a great big green stalk on them. And I use them in Thai cooking a lot. I love it. And in fresh soups, delightful. Do you have anything you'd like to talk about with the onion, other than she's gorgeous and wonderful?
She's gorgeous, she's wonderful, but she also has a beautiful, like, sweet flavor to her.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's great to use in all types of cooking. And yeah, it's great. Love her.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll see what next week's Michigan specialty crop is. Stay tuned on My Kitchen with Jake, where for food safety first, Michigan community second, and delicious food to follow.
Looking for the perfect weekend getaway? Love Lansing like a local. And we promise, you'll love Lansing just as much as we do.
My Michigan TV is streaming everywhere on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, and more smart TV apps. My Michigan TV is on your phone too. Take us with you wherever you go. Just search for My Michigan TV on your favorite app store or visit mymitv.com. All Michigan, streaming everywhere. My Michigan TV.
Welcome back to My Kitchen with Jake. I'm hanging out at the gorgeous Agricole Farm Stop here in downtown Chelsea, Michigan with my buddy, Shana Weddington.
Hey.
Shana is the manager here at Agricole Farm Stop. She helped me get through my licensing process in the kitchen space. So food safety has been to her core. She also helps manage all of the different food items that are here at Agricole Farm Stop.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about how it works. I mean, of course I know, but
yeah.
Tell the people.
Yeah, so in order to become a vendor here at the Farm Stop, you need to be locally sourced, locally grown, or locally producing. And so here we have a lot of gorgeous produce. All of this comes from Michigan. Some of the best produce, I would say, is hyper-local right here in the Chelsea area.
Definitely. Tantre Farms.
Tantre Farms, yeah.
Love
Jacob's
them.
Fresh Farm.
Jacob's is awesome
Garden
too.
Fort, just moved to Dexter. So we're really, really lucky to have such a, like, boisterous, wonderful producing produce.
You know, if you're a chef or a local foodie, this is the spot for
Yeah.
something awesome. I mean, some of the things you can find, just look at those mushrooms.
Yeah.
Like
So
black
that, yeah,
pearl
Myco
king
blossom.
oysters, the
Yeah.
chestnuts.
Yeah, Myco Blossom, they're here in Chelsea.
Look at this big old sexy kohlrabi.
That's right.
That is incredible produce.
Yeah, Blue Stem Organic.
So our whole show is, our first priority is
Okay.
food safety first,
Okay.
Michigan community second,
Love that.
and local delicious food to follow.
Nice.
So with food safety being one of our high values, right?
Yeah.
What goes into keeping this kind of food safe?
Well, so temperature, right?
Yeah.
Time and temperature safety control is the number one thing. So we're always managing our temperatures. We're always making sure that dates are correct. So our rule of thumb with produce is folks come in and they already have their best buy on there. And if they don't, we like to put a week or less on it. But oftentimes, because it's locally sourced and fresh right when it is picked and then brought in, a bag of greens will last you 2 weeks. This kohlrabi will last you a couple of months. I mean, I've heard some pretty wild stories.
That's really awesome. And your flavors are going to be so much better.
Yeah, so much better.
And you guys go as far, we're in Michigan, right?
Right.
We just had that huge ice storm.
Yes.
You guys you have to have some sort of option when something like that happens, right? In order to keep the food safe? What do you do?
Well, so we have a generator. However, it's not quite hooked up yet.
She's on her way.
Ice, dry ice is the option that most producers had to fall back to.
Yeah.
We just kept it going. We were lucky enough to not lose power in the past week or so. Our freezer was kept going, our back stock was good, and we
That's
just
fantastic.
kept coming in and checking our temps and making sure everything was safe and
Yeah.
ready for business.
The instant generator system will be a huge relief for you as
Such
a
a
manager.
huge
I'm
relief,
sure.
yes.
Yeah, dancing around that
Yeah.
kind of temperature stuff's
For
absolutely
sure.
crazy.
But things go wrong sometimes. Where like dairy is probably the one thing that is most sensitive, and so we're always keeping eyes on the dates for our dairy.
Yeah.
All of our meat products and all of our plant-based protein all come with the dates marked by Julian date. So we're always keeping eyes.
What is Julian date? I'm not sure I've heard that.
Oh yeah, so the Julian date is a marker that is used primarily by meatpacking plants to mark the date that it was packed or the date that it's going to expire on.
Got ya.
And so instead of date, month, year, it gives you just get a day of the year, and that's
what you're based
that's
off
what
of.
you're based off of.
How interesting. For
Yeah.
us as like wholesale food bakers, right?
Right.
It's very different. We've got a
Right.
week, boom, done.
Right.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah.
And you guys have dry stock food. You've got
lots of
fresh
dry
meats,
goods.
ready
Well,
to eat prepared foods.
We're not quite into the fresh meat yet. So
Yeah.
occasionally a producer will call us and say, hey, I've got some fresh chicken or I've got
Mm-hmm.
some fresh ground beef. Can I put that in your cooler? And yes, we will absolutely make a spot on the very bottom shelf. So that's another consideration for safety. Anything that's raw and uncooked has to be at the bottom of the fridge.
Just like in the kitchen.
Yeah.
But in a grocery store.
Exactly. Same thing goes for the grocery store and display. Now, this prepared foods cooler is normally so much more glorious.
Very, yeah. She's
But-
been picked over, huh?
Well,
Everybody
we've had-
without power, I bet, was
That's
really
it.
going
That's
to it.
So we've had several folks without power, and so it's been a struggle to keep it filled. Also, with folks out of power, what was here has been readily utilized and
I
eaten.
bet.
So
I
we've
bet they loved it.
definitely come in handy.
And you
Yeah.
guys have an immediate cafe area, so all of these pastries are out for sale.
Yes,
How long do you leave those out?
just today.
Just for one day.
One day.
That's fresh. Love
Yeah.
that. And then you've got coffee. Is
Yes.
there any food safety techniques that
Yes.
you have to implement to
So,
serve coffee?
Same thing goes for coffee, that goes for food. You have
Yeah.
to maintain your temperatures. You have to maintain your dates. So once I open a carton of milk, it only
Yeah.
gets 6 days from that time. Not that we ever keep milk that long.
Not here, no. The line goes out the door.
Yeah, we make tea fresh every day. Chai tea,
Mm.
herbal teas, black teas. So fresh matcha tea made to order with ceremonial grade matcha
That's
from Arbor
awesome.
Teas. And then Ruse Roast Coffee and Dawnbreaker Coffee are our two primary roasters that we utilize in the cafe.
So as we're walking through, I'm thinking about like restaurant, right? It's
Yes.
grocery store, but I'm used to
Yes.
restaurants.
Yeah.
How do you guys manage the flow of food? Because you'd have waste just as anybody else would.
Right.
So you have a big waste section. Do you guys try and
Yeah.
revitalize some of the earth with it?
So
Like back on farms?
actually, there's a lot of compost.
Is there?
Yes. So I would say that when produce is no longer fresh or is starting to look a little past its best by, two things happen. One, things that are still good enough for consumption can go to food gatherers.
Yeah.
And then anything else goes into our compost. Any spent coffee grounds, spent tea, all goes out to compost.
My blueberry bushes would love that.
Yeah, so you're welcome to pick up a compost bucket. We have
fun.
we have several farmers that pick it up.
Yeah.
My lovely husband picks it up for us.
Does he?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really
So-
cool.
And all of that will go right back into either flour production or herb production or
Nice.
whatever farm wants to pick it up back into their production.
That's really cool. And the whole time you're also having to manage pests, right? So I'm sure you guys
Yeah.
have really had to put in a lot of standard operating procedures
Yes.
to avoid things like that. Because it's
Absolutely.
important for your guests and for wholesalers like me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Constant with you in food safety, I'm
Yeah.
sure, huh?
Yeah, so it's an interesting thing to go from buyer, farmer, and then right onto our shelves.
Yeah.
So sometimes things will come in and you have to kind of check and make sure there's no little worm in there.
Nothing
and-
fun.
Yeah, but sometimes we just have education. So in the ways that when you show up at the farmer's market, there might be a worm that's loving its tomato or what have you. Maybe the basil that's freshly picked still has like some roots on it potentially.
Yeah, they're
Maybe
just
there's-
part of it.
Yeah, they're just part of it. I mean, we've had some experiences where there was a chrysalis on some flowers, and
Oh,
so we
fun.
then kept it and
Did it hatch?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
we
fun.
released a little butterfly.
Well, and that's how you
so-
know that you're not ending up with dangerous pesticides.
Right.
I mean, I know that we catered your wedding. I know that you
Yeah.
eat a lot like I do.
Right.
You're very concerned about ending up with additional items that you didn't really plan to have in your food.
Right.
And that, to me, that's really important.
Yeah.
And I know it is to you too. It's really
Yeah,
awesome.
it
I think
is.
the work that you're doing here at Agricole is fascinating and
Yeah,
so
we're-
important to our local community.
It's important to the community, but it's also really important for future food production. And I think
Absolutely.
that's like the biggest takeaway here is when you learn about environmental safety, environmental science, and we talk about big ag versus small ag and how one can contribute to pesticide, and contamination, also antibiotic resistant crops or pesticide resistant bugs, things like
That's a
that,
lot.
right? And then you have these smaller producers that are using more regenerative practices or farming. If they're not certified organic, they're oftentimes naturally farming or organic practicing. And so just making sure that they have an outlet and a way to continue to grow their operation.
Absolutely. Well, you've helped out my business so much in growing just through this kitchen space.
Yeah, that's
which
really
was like
great to hear.
a whole food safe hurdle all of its own.
Yeah.
Managing the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Development's structure
Right.
it's very interesting, and having
is.
somebody like you and the people over at the MSU Extension office
Mm-hmm.
to help navigate something like this is, I mean, it's crucial.
Yeah.
I was in the same spot that Grayson was in, studying ProStart and going to college and trying to build a career in it. And really the entrepreneurial route sometimes can be the best route, but without having a community like Agricole, it's really hard to manage that.
Yeah.
I appreciate it a lot. Thank you,
Good.
buddy.
Yeah, you're welcome. You were one of the originals, one of the OGs.
Yeah, the
and
OGs.
It's been cool to see how far you've come and what you've done with your business and the new places that you're taking it.
Yeah, we've
So,
really grown and expanded.
Yeah, just
well,
like-
thank you so much for having us in this space, and thank you so much for
course.
letting us use it for the recording.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to let us know about Agricole Farm Stop?
Well, just that we're here and we're putting back 75% of all sales right back into the farmers and artisans and the producers who make and grow and do everything that is here in the space. And so we're really grateful for the opportunity to be on today's show. And we look forward to seeing what comes next.
Well, thank you so much, Agricole. Thank you so much, Shana. And get down here, because this is the spot you want to be, right here in downtown Chelsea. Where's our kitchen at right now? We've decluttered, we've...
Wipe down.
What do we wipe it down with?
Hot soapy water.
Hot soapy water works. What other sanitizing options do we have?
Well, there's lots of different things I can use, right? I can use bleach.
Undiluted vinegar, a tablespoon of bleach, and a quart of water, right?
Works good.
We can use a store-bought sanitizer.
Spray sanitizer.
Yeah. Or we can even use our dishwasher.
Well, it's kind of hard to put my beautiful little counter here in the dishwasher.
That's true. But we could put cutting boards in there.
Cutting boards work good.
Welcome to Mackinac Island.
We were just named the #1 island destination in the continental U.S. by Travel and Leisure magazine.
We are proud of our little slice of paradise.
And hope we have a chance to visit soon.
So hop on in
And treat yourself to fascinating history.
Delicious island traditions.
And an unforgettable nightlife.
We look forward to seeing you soon on Mackinac Island.
My Michigan TV is streaming everywhere on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, and more smart TV apps. My Michigan TV is on your phone too. Take us with you wherever you go. Just search for My Michigan TV on your favorite app store or visit mymitv.com. All Michigan, streaming everywhere. My Michigan TV.
Welcome back to My Kitchen with Jake. We're just wrapping up an incredible recording with Miss Novirah Lone. We made an incredible red pepper risotto utilizing local onions from Tantre Farms. We got to hang out in the Agricole Farm Stop kitchen and loved every minute of it. Chelsea's a beautiful spot. It's absolutely bustling with local farmers and local chefs and local foodies, just like you. And we'd like to thank you all for joining us. You can catch our show on MyMyTV and on the MichiganFoodSafety.com website. At this time, we'd also like to thank our sponsor, the MRLAEF, Michigan Restaurant Lodging Association Education Foundation. And I'd like to thank our guests. Vera, you're fantastic. Thanks so much. And we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.